Hello trainers, Sipes1946 here with Superior Source for Cards. I want to introduce another HGSS through Call of Legends deck to you. This time we're going to focus this deck on two different primes. Typhlosion Prime with the Afterburner Pokepower, giving us the ability once per turn before our attack to search our discard pile for a fire energy and attach it to a Pokemon. We also put a damage counter on that Pokemon. Now that's going to give us an interesting interaction that we're going to take full advantage of when I introduce the next main Pokemon in this deck. And that would be Ursaring Prime. Ursaring Prime has a Pokebody ability Berserk. If Ursaring has any damage counters on it, each of Ursaring's attacks does 60 more damage. Therefore, the hammer arm damage for 30, discarding the top card of your opponent's deck, one Ursaring Prime has a damage counter on it, will do 90 damage for 3 colorless. The Megaton Lariat attack will do 120 damage for 4 energy. So you can see we have a nice interaction. We can accelerate energy onto Ursaring Prime, and then we also add 60 damage to the hammer arm, and we double the Megaton Lariat attack. So we're going to take full advantage of that. We're going to play 4 Teddiursa, who has a great ability as well, Fake Tears for 1 colorless. If the opponent loses a coin flip, they cannot play any trainers during their next turn, and damage done to this Pokemon is reduced by 30. That's a fantastic basic that we can set up, take advantage of, while we attempt to evolve into Ursaring Prime. We're going to play 1 Smeargle. Smeargle with the Portrait Pokebody ability allows us to, before our attack, once per turn, look at our opponent's hand, and if we find a supporter there, choose one and use its ability. So this potentially could give us the ability of using 2 supporters in a turn by taking advantage of supporters in our opponent's hand. To evolve to Typhlosion Prime, we're going to play 2 Cyndaquil, the basic, that will then evolve into Quilava, to stage 1, and then ultimately into Typhlosion Prime, 140 hit points. The Afterburner ability that we talked about that gives energy acceleration with a Flare Destroy attack for 70 using 2 fire and 1 colorless energy. We also can discard an energy attached to Typhlosion as well as attached to the defending Pokemon. However, with the Afterburner Pokepower ability, we can offset our energy discard by attaching this energy from the discard from the Afterburner to Typhlosion. So we could actually keep fueling future attacks as long as we can keep fire energy in the discard. Ideally, we'll be attacking with Ursaring Prime, and then we'll be Afterburnering fire energy onto either our active or benched Ursaring Primes. We also play 2 Ninetales, a stage 1 Pokemon with 90 hit points that has the Roast Reveal Pokepower. Once during your turn, before we attack, we can discard a fire energy, and if we do, draw 3 cards. So this gives us fire energy into our discard, which we can then attach to a Pokemon using Typhlosion Prime's Afterburner, and it also gives us additional cards, because we'll draw 3 if we discard this energy. And we have to play 2 Vulpix that we can evolve into Ninetales. So that's our 20 Pokemon lineup, and that takes us into our trainers. We're going to play 22 different trainers. We're going to play Energy Returner for getting 4 basic energy cards from our discard pile. Now typically, if we're using Typhlosion Prime's ability, we're going to want energy in the discard, but there might be cases where we want to get some of those back into our deck. Maybe 2 Energy Returners for this deck is too many, I'm not quite sure yet. Actually, we play 1 Energy Returner. We play 2 Pokemon Communication. We can choose a Pokemon in our hand, put it on top of our deck, and then we can get a Pokemon that we want. So we can use Pokemon Communication to get any one of the Pokemon that we have in our Pokemon section, so that we can either get a basic on the bench, or we can complete an evolution, or maybe grab Smeargle. It's a very powerful card. 3 Rare Candy. Rare Candy allows us to skip an evolution, so we can use Rare Candy to skip Quilava and go straight from Cyndaquil into our Typhlosion Prime. We play 3 Rare Candy. We play 2 Black Belt. Black Belt allows us to do 40 more damage in our attack to our opponent's active Pokemon, and that's only for the turn. And this is if we're behind. So if our opponent has taken more prize cards than we have, then we'll have the option of using Black Belt. And with Ursaring with a damage counter on him, Megaton Lariat could do 120 plus 40 would be 160. Or 90 plus 40 would be 130. So you can see that if we play Black Belt and Ursaring Prime has a damage counter, that we can do quite a bit of damage. We play 2 Engineer's Adjustments. We can discard an energy card from our hand, which puts energy in our discard that we can then energy accelerate using Typhlosion Prime's ability, and it allows us to draw 4 cards. We play 2 Interviewer's Questions. This allows us to look at the top 8 cards of our deck and take energy cards from them and put them in our hand. We play 2 Pokemon Collector. This allows us to get 3 basic Pokemon out of our deck, so we can set up our bench and get our evolutions going. We play 3 Professor Elm's Training Method. This allows us to get an evolution card out of our deck and put it in our hand. So if we need to find an Ursaring, or we need to find a Quilava or a Typhlosion Prime, or we need to find a Ninetales, we're able to grab any of those with Professor Elm's Training Method. We play Professor Oak's New Theory. We play 3 copies of that. Allows us to get 6 new cards. And then finally 2 Twins. Should we be behind in prize count, we can use Twins to get any 2 cards out of our deck. It's a very powerful card. With the moderate setup that this deck requires, it is possible we could find ourselves 1 or 2 prize cards down and then take full advantage of the Twin card. We're going to play 18 Energy. 4 double colorless energy, primarily for Ursaring. You can see that his first attack takes 3 colorless and his second attack takes 4. 2 rainbow energy. Now we're playing the rainbow energy because not necessarily that it could be any color, since we really only need fire energy in the deck, but you'll notice that when it's attached to one of our Pokemon from our hand, it puts a damage counter in place. Therefore, we could use any one of these 2 rainbow energies to get the plus 60 damage on our Ursaring Prime. And then ultimately, we're going to play 12 fire energy. So that's our 20 Pokemon, our 22 trainers, and our 18 energy. The Typhlosion Prime deck is very fun to play. It does require a little bit of setup. It's not too laborious. The Ursaring Prime is a stage 1, so it's quick. Ninetales is a stage 1, so it's quick. Typhlosion Prime is a stage 2, but with the 3 rare candy, we're able to try to skip stage 1, and it can be quick as well. Of course, it all depends on what's prized, what cards you draw, and how your setup goes. But the deck is fun to play, and we're going to look forward to bringing this into a battle. Let's take this Typhlosion Prime and Ursaring Prime deck to battle. So we'll go to Versus. We're going to do a friend battle. We're going to battle with Swizz. He's going to use an HGSS-CoL of Legends deck as well. I believe it's going to be Donphan Prime that you've seen in a few of our other battles. And let's see what happens. Hopefully we get a good setup. All right, here we go. We will flip heads to see who goes first. We will go ahead and go first. And he did not have a basic Pokemon, so we are familiar with this deck, so we see what he has. We're going to put Cyndaquil in play. It's our only basic Pokemon, so we'll put Cyndaquil in the active position. We will draw a card because he mulligans. We'll go ahead and put Smeargle Portrait ability on our bench. And we're going to go ahead and Pokemon Communication away at Ursaring to get a Teddy Ursa on the bench. And we'll do an Energy's Adjustment, discarding a Fire Energy to draw cards. We're going to go ahead and put a double colorless on Teddy Ursa. We don't need to do Energy Returner. And that's going to end our turn. So let's see what kind of opening he has. He has a Machamp on the bench. He's going to probably put a Fight Energy on that and do 10 damage. He's going to flip to try to do 10 more. He benches a Phanpy. Cycling more Pokemon from his deck using Pokemon Collector. Filling up his bench with a Tyrogue, another Phanpy, and a Machamp. No energy attached, so he missed an energy. That's good for us. So we're going to evolve Teddy Ursa into Ursaring Prime. We're going to play Quilava, evolving our Cyndaquil. We're going to attach a third energy onto Ursaring Prime. We're going to go ahead and Engineer's Adjustment again, discarding a Fire to draw more cards. So we do have energy in the discard pile. But but we're going to have to just leave it right there. So that's going to be our turn. So we're going to leave a Quilava in the active. He missed an energy attach, so at most he's going to attach 1 energy and do 10, possibly 20 damage to our active Quilava. And we've already got an active Hammer Arm attack with Ursaring, and with another energy attach, we'll be able to use Megaton Lariat. So he evolves into Donphan Prime. Still no energy attach. He judges. So he's got a Machamp Prime and a Donphan Prime. He puts a double colorless energy into the lost zone. So we're going to Professor Elm's training methods, a Typhlosion Prime. We're going to evolve our Quilava into Typhlosion Prime, which means we can Afterburner. We'll take a fire energy from our discard. We're going to put it onto Ursaring. So we also now have a damage counter on Ursaring. We have 2 energy attached. We're going to go ahead and attach 1 more fire energy to Ursaring Prime. So we now have Hammer Arm active with a damage counter, so it can do 90. And we're going to have to end our turn. He still has no energy. Okay, there's his first energy attach. So he's going to be able to do Vital Throw for 40. We're going to be able to do, if we attach, we can do Megaton Lariat for 120. However, our Typhlosion is still going to be active. I think we're going to go ahead and attach the Rainbow Energy to Typhlosion Prime. We'll Afterburner on, and then we will be able to retreat, bringing Ursaring into the active position. I think we're going to have to go ahead and do it that way. So we'll do 90 to his active Machamp. You know, maybe that wasn't the best move, I'm not sure, but it's what I did. He's only got a single energy attached, which means he's not going to be able to knock out our Ursaring Prime unless there's something that I'm missing. He evolves a second Donphan onto his bench. So he's got 2 Donphan Primes, a Machamp Prime, and a Tyrogue. So he's got a good setup. Oh, he did damage to himself. Okay. So we're going to put Smeargle into the active position so we can try to take advantage of a supporter. We're going to go ahead and Professor Oak's new theory. We will put a fire energy onto our Typhlosion Prime. We're going to Portrait. We're going to Professor Oak's new theory again. We're going to put 2 Teddy Ursa on the bench. We will Afterburner a fire energy onto one of our Teddy Ursas, and we're going to have to end our turn. So it's a good turn of events for him. I didn't see him knocking out our active, but he did. He also slowed us down with the double colorless energy into the lost zone. His Machamp has got 110 damage on it, so that's good for us. He does only have 1 double colorless energy attached to his Machamp Prime. We're going to be able to evolve. We're going to need energy, though. And we got what we needed, I believe. We got everything we needed, I believe. We're going to go ahead and get another Ursaring Prime. And we're going to Megaton Lariat. Yeah, and we'll cause him to discard his top card. So we take our first prize. So it is 2-1 in his favor. So he's going to promote a Machamp Prime. He's got a double colorless attached to that, so he needs to put a fight energy to do the knockout, which he did. So we're going to put another Teddy Ursa in line, since the Typhlosion Prime is our only energy acceleration at the moment. Professor Elm's training method isn't going to do anything for us. So we're going to Afterburner. We're not going to be able to attack with our Ursaring Prime. But we're going to have to go ahead and attach anyway. And that's our turn. We had a good setup, we had a good strong start, and then he was able to get an unexpected knockout, which set us back, and now we're playing catch-up. It's 3-1. Yeah, no help there, nothing we can play with that. We're an energy short. He's going to knock out our last Pokemon, and he's going to kick the win. It was a nice comeback by Swizz. I felt like we had a good start, but then it just took a turn for the worst. So we're going to challenge him to another match. See if he'll be gracious enough to give us a chance to try to tie this up. I felt like Typhlosion Prime got a good start, but maybe it was one turn too slow. So it's going to be the same matchup: Donphan Machamp Prime versus Typhlosion and Ursaring Prime. He's going to take the flip this time. He's probably going to go first. See what kind of setup we get. We got nothing. We're going to have to mulligan. He's got a handful of stuff he can use without basics though, so he mulligans. We're going to put a Cyndaquil inactive. That's our only option. Let's see what he's got in the active position. Probably we're going to take our mulligan. He's got a Machop with a Phanpy on the bench. And here we go. We'll go ahead and attach a Fire Energy to our Cyndaquil. We're going to Professor Oak's New Theory because we can't play anything else in our hand. We're going to play a Teddy Ursa, another Cyndaquil, and we'll go ahead and beat for 10. See what he gets. He's got an attachment, so he's going to be able to do some damage. He's got an energy attachment, so he's going to do 10. He's going to do 20 damage to our Cyndaquil. Put another Teddy Ursa on the bench. Professor Elm's training method is going to be able to get us either an Ursaring Prime or a Quilava. I think we want the Ursaring Prime. Going to do 10 again. He's not going to be able to knock out our Cyndaquil, so we're going to get another turn to try to do something with that. Actually, he is. He put a double colorless on there. Nope. He's got to have fight energy to do 50 damage. But he could evolve it. If he evolves it, he's going to have an active attack. He's going to force us to circulate our Pokemon. We're going to put a Teddy Ursa in the active because we could take advantage of fake tears if we have to. Going to do 20 damage or 40 damage because the double. That's right. I forgot about the weakness. Probably shouldn't have promoted that with a 2-time weakness. We're going to put a Smeargle on the bench. And that's all we've got. I probably should have put a Cyndaquil in the active since its weakness is not to fight. We're going to go ahead and promote our Smeargle so we can take advantage of any supporters he might have in his hand. We'll put a Vulpix on the bench. Black Belt's not going to do us any good. We are behind on prizes, but we don't have an attack set up. We're going to Portrait. Aha, Professor Oak's New Theory. That's probably the best thing we could have gotten. We're going to be able to put a double colorless energy on our benched Ursaring Prime. We're going to Pokemon Collector for 2 more Teddy Ursas and a Vulpix. We're going to put another Teddy Ursa on the bench. And that's going to end our turn. Smeargle also has a fight weakness ×2. So we're going to have some luck here to bounce back. The fight energy weakness in our primary attacker, is definitely a huge negative in this particular matchup. So he's definitely got the upper hand. It's going to be tough for us to beat him. He forces us to put Ursaring Prime in the active position. And fortunately, he doesn't get a knockout. We're going to evolve a second Ursaring Prime. We're going to Professor Elm's training method. A Quilava. We're working towards getting a Typhlosion Prime in place. We're going to attach an energy to our benched Ursaring Prime, and that's going to be the end of our turn. So we're just a little too slow again. This fast fight Prime deck is just too much for this deck. It's a much better matchup for him. So he's evolved into Machamp Prime. He's going to be able to do a lot of damage with the 2-time weakness. He's going to put a couple more Pokemon on his bench, a Tyrogue and another Machamp. It's going to knock out our Ursaring Prime. It is two prizes to 0. We are still 2 energy behind. We're going to have to put Smeargle in the active position to try to get us a supporter that we can draw cards with. We're going to put another Teddy Ursa in play. We're going to put another energy onto Ursaring Prime. We're going to Portrait. He has no supporters. So we are done. He's going to get a knockout on Smeargle if that's what he wants. Hopefully he won't rotate one of our other Pokemon into the active and knock that out. Alright, so that was bad, but that was actually probably the best way it could have gone. We're going to go ahead and promote our Ursaring Prime with 2 energy. It's our closest chance we have. We will be able to activate it and get an attack. We put our 3rd energy on it. We're going to go ahead and bench. Actually, we're not going to bench that Vulpix. We're going to have one shot at this guy, and then he's going to knock out our Ursaring Prime. We did put a Donphan Prime into the discard, so that was something. And once this Ursaring Prime is knocked out, we're pretty much done. We are pretty much done. We'll put this in the active position. It's just a matter of turns now. We'll go ahead and attack him. But his setup is too good now. He's got his evolutions in place. He's doing good damage against a fight weakness deck. We'll go ahead and promote Teddy Ursa so he can get the knockout. We finally do get a Typhlosion. We'll go ahead and do what we can, and we'll fake tears. And we got Tails, which is good, which is not good for us. It means he can play trainers, and we can't reduce his damage by 30, which would have been irrelevant anyway. But again, we got beaten. It was not a good matchup for us. The 2-time fight weakness against a Machamp Donphan Prime deck is terrible. However, I do enjoy the deck very much. In matchups where we're not taking double damage from the fight energy weakness, we do quite well, and Ursaring Prime does a lot of damage once it gets at least 1 damage counter on it, which typically we're doing ourselves. So I enjoyed this. If you're interested in these decks, any of the cards to make these decks, feel free to see Superior Source for cards, and we'll see you next time. This was Sipes 1946.